Hello everyone and welcome to another Umarex product review. My name is Michael K from ReplicaAirguns.com, and this is going to be a combined tabletop and shooting review. Mainly because I have 3 product reviews I would like to get done for Umarex, as they sent me 3 guns for review and I'd like to get them done in a nice, timely manner for them. So today's product is the Umarex Browning Buckmark URX, and this is a .177 caliber pellet pistol using a brake barrel spring piston design which has a single stroke cocking mechanism. Now this is a single shot pistol with a rifled barrel. Now it has a maximum claimed 320 FPS velocity using alloy pellets, so non-lead pellets. Now Umarex claims that you'll get up to 260 FPS using lead pellets. I beg to differ with them on this one. I've shot this gun, I played around with it, and I feel it shoots a bit harder than they suggest. This Browning pistol has a 5.75 pound trigger pull with a 5.25 inch rifled barrel, and it's single action only, so you have to cock it to engage the trigger each time. This gun weighs approximately 1.5 pounds, has a fully adjustable rear sight, and includes the Browning Buckmark URX branding and licensing. Now obviously, if you haven't noticed, it's a replica of the real Browning Buckmark URX. Now I'm going to bring in my personal .22 caliber Buckmark that I've owned for several years now. It's not the exact same URX version, but it's very similar. It does have a bit of a shorter barrel and slightly different grips, but you'll see that these guns are very similar, especially if you look at the back half of them. So I'll let you take a look at this. This is the real steel .22 caliber version. Now of course the slide comes back on this model because it is blowback design, and this would be your safety just like on the pellet version, and that's your slide release and catch. Now I've mounted a scope on here. It's just a red dot scope. Looks like it's more than that, but that's all this is a fancy red dot scope. Alright, so you can see that both of these guns look relatively the same. Now on the pellet version, of course, there's going to be the lever here, or the lever, and that's for when you cock the gun. You have to have some sort of cocking mechanism to cock the spring. The spring would be in the back portion of the upper receiver. Now this gun is made in Taiwan, and mine came unpackaged, so to speak, because it was a review product from Umarex. It just basically came in a box. It wasn't in its actual packaging. I did get a bit of a manual here that came with it, and everything you need is inside here. Now Umarex also sent me some RWS hobby pellets, and these were the pellets I used to test this gun. They are flathead 7-grain pellets. Alright, so let's start off with the walk around of this pistol. We're going to start off on the left side. You'll see here we have the Browning markings, Browning Buckmark URX. Now the slide catch, as I said, is non-functioning, but the safety is. It does have a plastic trigger. The magazine release is non-functioning as there's no magazine in it. You do have your tactile slide grips here that you would, and they're pretty much exactly the same as you can see here on both guns, which is nice. Really nice grips. It's sort of a rubberized plastic. Nice. I mean, the ergonomics are almost exactly the same as the real gun, which does help out. The front barrel portion is plastic. It's kind of shrouded. I'll show you that a little bit more later. But you can see here you have a metal inner barrel. Let's take a look at the right side. You can see here we have our warning instructions here. There's this sort of pseudo fake ejector. Then you also have your caliber and some more branding for Browning here at the top. Serial number as well. Again, your Browning licensing on the grips. Now on the top I have my NC Star red green dot scope sighting system. It's mounted right on the Weaver style rail. You can see that there. But we do have a fully adjustable rear sight for windage and elevation. In the front we have a fixed front sight, very similar to the real Browning Buckmark. Now I also wanted to show you the brake barrel design. There's your hinge and your lever, and there is a bit of wiggle in this. I don't want to actually break the barrel because then I'd have to shoot it dry, but there's a little bit of wiggle in it, but that wiggle kind of goes away when you actually put it fully in the all the way back position, ready to shoot. So the wiggle pretty much is almost completely gone. This area is a little bit loose. I guess my only concern is this will loosen up over time. It seems to shoot just fine as is, but over time, if this hinge and mounting assembly were to loosen, I might be a little concerned. Now looking at the front of the barrel here, it's going to be a little tough to see in it, but it is fairly recessed. I'll try and let you see inside here. It's kind of hard to do, but you can see that the barrel is fairly recessed. It's just too close, sorry, but you can see how far down. I'd say the barrel goes in about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. It's recessed, and then there's your inner barrel. So it's a bit tough to see. Alright, so at this point we're going to head out and we're going to do the shooting portion of this test. We're going to chronograph this gun. We're going to put 5 rounds through the chronograph and see what our average feet per second is using the RWS 7-grain pellets. Then we're going to head over and do the accuracy portion of the test. Again, another 5 rounds into a target from 30 feet out in a semi-rested position. Again, I'll be using my NC Star sighting system during this testing and the RWS Hobby 7-grain pellets. Alright, so we're all set up here with my Umarex Buckmark URX, and we're going to shoot 5 rounds through this chronograph. Now this pistol has an FPS rating of up to 320 feet per second, and that's using the non-lead hypervelocity styled pellets. Now I have 7-grain regular lead pellets here, and I've been shooting this gun and I feel that it shoots harder than 300 with these lead pellets. It just feels like it's shooting harder than what it says. In lead it says around 260, and I don't really believe that. This gun shoots harder in my opinion. So we're not using the lightest lead pellets available. There are lighter, but 7-grain are sort of on the lower weight side for lead pellets. These are just hobby grade RWS pellets that were provided to me by Umarex. So we're going to use these pellets and see how it does in the chronograph. I'm going to shoot 5 rounds, so let's get started. I have to reach over here, get these pellets. This gun is really easy to crank. Take it off safety. Shot number 1. 314. So like I said, a little higher than I thought. Shot number 2. 321. So that's up with the hypervelocity style pellets, and we're using lead. Shot number 3. 325. Interesting. Shot number 4. 316. Last one. 323. So as I predicted, this gun shoots harder than claimed. We're getting the same results with the lead pellets that we're supposed to get with the hypervelocity pellets. So the pellets that are mainly constructed out of metal instead of lead. And they're generally lighter, so they'll go faster. Alright, so that's pretty decent. Now this gun has such an easy cocking effort. When you actually break the barrel and cock it, it's very easy to cock. And this gun shoots pretty reasonably as far as feet per second goes. So let's move on to the accuracy portion of this test. Again, I'm going to shoot 5 rounds through it and see what kind of grouping we can get. See if we can get this gun within about an inch or so from 30 feet out. And I'm going to be shooting from a semi-rested position. Alright, so we're all set up here from 30 feet out in a semi-rested position. I've got my Umarex Browning Buckmark URX, and I'm standing in a semi-rested position, so it's on a sandbag in the front, and I'm standing in the back. Now I have shot a few groups with this, and it did pretty good, but I do tend to pull the odd shot because the gun's very lightweight, and the fact that I'm standing means that the gun does wiggle around a little bit. So hopefully I can get a nice tight group for you. It's somewhat sighted in, but not perfectly. So let's see how we do. Helps if I take it off safety. This gun automatically goes into safe mode every time you cock it. Got to remember to do that. Here we go. I pulled that one right away. I know that for a fact. So let's not count that one. Alright, just getting ready here. Takes a little bit of warming up with this one. Here we go. We're going to try it again here. was a little better. So I'm going to try and put 5 rounds into this gun. That first one will just not count it because it was a really bad shot actually. All right, let's see if we can get one more. These last, those first shot was bad, pulled it. The last 4 were good, didn't pull them. And let's see if we can get this last one right on the money here. All right, that was okay. Let's take a look. I may have pulled that last one just a hair. Yeah, so you can see here, first one was, it was just not really happening. I just totally didn't anticipate the trigger pull right, and the gun just did not shoot when I was really on target. These 4 here felt good. This last one I may have pulled just a hair, but look at that. Those 4 are pretty much right on top of each other. That last one, we'll count it anyways. We're still looking at a 1-inch group from 30 feet out. With a little practice, this gun is really a very nice shooter. Now it's interesting, I'll tell you a little thing that happened to me. When I put this crazy rig on here, I was shooting really low. So I had it all set on target. I put this scope in, the sight. Well, this is, by the way, is an NC Star sight that I added, that I'm using. I didn't mention that, but I'm using this green red dot NC Star sight. But when I put my camera rig on here, I started shooting really low and to the right. It was kind of unusual, so I had to reset this gun up. So I'm probably going to have to set it up again without this camera rig on it. So the rig was making me shoot completely different. So I had to reset it up. Anyways, we're going to head inside now. That's a really nice group. We're going to head inside and we're going to finish up this review. Alright, so this gun performed very well, just as I expected it to. I did get the chance to shoot this a little bit before this full review, and I was very happy with the results that I was getting. So I was really looking forward to sharing how well this gun performed. Now, as I suspected, this gun shoots a little harder than claimed. It actually shoots a little bit harder with the lead pellets than is claimed with the alloy pellets. So I imagine the alloy pellets would get up closer to the 400 feet per second. Now, I believe the reason why Umarex wanted this gun to not have super high velocities is probably because it's a spring piston design, and the heavier the spring, the more recoil, which can take away a little bit from your accuracy with the spring piston design. So having the lighter spring and less recoil really helped this gun during the accuracy portion of the test. And as you saw during the testing, other than the first pellet I shot, which I pulled a little bit, and what I mean by pulled is I kind of over anticipated when the trigger was going to release, and I wasn't really ready for the shot, so I pulled the pellet a little off target. Now the rest of the shots that I took, I felt pretty confident with and didn't feel that I pulled them, and you can see that I got a very nice 1-inch group from that semi-rested position. So keep in mind, I am standing in the back. This gun was not really braced in any way, it was just resting on a sandbag in the front. So there's going to be a little bit of human factor involved with each shot. So to get those kinds of results is very good. Now my last comment I want to make about the shooting portion of this test is that I kind of felt that the trigger may be a little heavier than 5.75 pounds. Now I don't have anything to test it with, but when you compare this gun to the real Browning Buckmark, the trigger pull is different. On the real 22 long rifle Buckmark, the trigger is silky as glass. It's absolutely phenomenal. One of the best triggers on any of my guns. Not that it's super light, but it's just smooth, it's nice and light, predictable, and short, which means I can literally shoot all 10 rounds really accurately on target in probably under 2 seconds. Alright, so let's get into some of the pros and the cons. All in all, the Umarex Browning Buckmark URX is a very decent copy of the original Browning, so it makes it a really good replica. Now the build quality in general feels good. I really like the texture of the grips. That also just makes the gun feel that much better. Now the Umarex Browning Buckmark performed very well, not only in my chronograph portion, getting much higher than claimed, but also in my accuracy portion of the test, getting a nice 1-inch group from 30 feet out. I like the fact that the URX has a built-in weaver rail, so you can mount whatever sighting system you choose. But you know, if you don't want to add the extra cost of a red dot or other sighting system, you can just go with the standard sights. They are adjustable for windage and elevation. Now the ergonomics are very similar to the real buckmark in 22 long rifle. So if you do own a buckmark and you want to shoot off range, and even though 22 long rifle are not expensive rounds, it's even cheaper shooting .177 caliber pellets. You can shoot these things all day and you don't even need any CO2. So this gun makes an excellent target pistol for at home, maybe even in your downstairs range if you have the right type of backstop and environment for shooting in. And lastly, the Umarex Buckmark URX has a very low price tag, so this gun is not going to set you back very much at all and give you lots of inexpensive shooting down the road. So let's talk a little bit about some of the cons. One concern that I had is the way that the barrel is mounted. It does seem a little bit loose when you've cocked the gun and there's no tension on it, but once you snap it back into place, it does tighten up. So I just hope that this system performs well, not just now but in the future with a bit of wear on it. I would have also liked a metal trigger on this gun. It is plastic. The real gun obviously uses a metal trigger, and if the trigger pull was just a little bit lighter, it would have also been nice. Not that I felt that it was overly heavy, but just to compare it to the real buckmark and how light it is, it would have been nice to be a little closer. And lastly, even though this gun has a fairly nice balance, I feel that the real buckmark has a little bit more forward weight, and if Umarex had maybe put a metal wrap on the front of the barrel, now there's an inner metal barrel here, but the front wrap is plastic. By adding, say, a metal wrap on here, and you'll notice the back top receiver is metal as well, would have matched a little bit better, and I feel it would have given this gun just a slightly better balance overall. Alright, so that sums up this review of the Umarex Browning Buckmark URX. All in all, it was a great pistol and performed very well for me. I'm very happy with this product and recommend it highly. If you want to pick one up from the Replica Airgun store, you can do that in the US. I do have it available for sale there. I don't quite have it in the Canada store. Hopefully I'll get it down the road, so you can always check back. Or if you're watching this video down the road sometime, I may have it in the Canadian store then. Make sure to come down to the Replica Airgun's website to check out my full review of this gun. I have a written review ready there for you to read. There will also be some pictures for you to look over, maybe some comments I might have left out from the video review. Also check me out on Facebook and Twitter. Username is Replica Airguns, and if you haven't subscribed yet to my YouTube videos, make sure to do so before you leave. Alright, thanks again for watching, and stay posted for 2 more Umarex reviews coming up shortly. I'm going to try to get to those as quickly as possible. So keep watching, and until next time, take care.